Hello everybody, and this is my 1906 Edelbrock Carb. Got it hooked up on a 1985 Chevrolet Caprice 305 V8. And I was having a real big problem with dieseling. I just got the Quadrajet taken off and got this hooked up. I let another guy do it until later. I realized I could have did it myself, but anyways, I was having a real bad problem with dieseling. If you don't know what dieseling is, it's when you shut your engine off or you turn your ignition off, and it's like your engine is still trying to run, like it's still getting fuel, and and it's still trying to run. And I figured out the problem with my situation, and it might be yours, and you just don't know it. Now, as you see, I got this kind of rigged up. I got to get this part 8026, and really, I didn't have anywhere to hook up my transmission cable, so I just got the little adapter piece to hook my transmission cable up to. So I got my spring kind of rigged up right here, but it shifts perfect. Nothing wrong with it driving. But all right, what you need to have, you gotta have this. It's about $185. It's an idle stop solenoid, or the reason they have it is it serves two purposes. All right, if you got your AC on and you got your car idling, a lot of times these cars will have problems with maintaining idle with the AC on, because that's taking up power. So what this does, this little thing right here pops out and pushes your throttle and increases your idle to make up for your AC compressor being on. What it also does is it completely closes your throttle. So it'll go all the way back down, and you see my throttle is all the way closed. Now, a lot of times what's going on if your engine is dieseling is because your throttle isn't closing all the way, and I'm going to show you why. It doesn't have everything to do with this. What it might have to do with is, let me see. You see this little screw right here? This is your fast idle screw. And I came out this morning and I just popped my hood. Last time I shut the engine off, it didn't diesel. So I was like, man, I was messing with my idle that day. I was like, man, I must be doing something right. So as you can see, this is your choke linkage. This is your choke linkage, right? This is your fast idle screw. What was happening was this choke linkage was stuck on this fast idle screw right here. Now, when that happens, it kept my throttle open. You got to go out there and look at it. If you're having a diesel problem with the new Edelbrock carburetor, you need to go look at this and you'll understand what I'm saying. This choke linkage, this choke linkage was further this way, and it was sitting on top of my fast idle screw, which was keeping my throttle, keeping this up this way. It was like this when I turned the engine off because that screw was hung up on that piece. How do you fix that? Now seriously, go look at that if you're having a dieseling problem, because it's that simple. How do you fix that? This is your idle speed screw. Bow. This is your idle speed screw. Now if you have this piece already, this idle stop solenoid, you're going to have to loosen this and get it out of the way. But this is your idle speed screw. If you adjust this, it adjusts where your choke linkage is. All I had to do was move this idle speed screw out, and you might have your idle too fast also. That could be causing the dieseling, but I know what was causing it with mine. I had to take this, I had to ease this out, which slowed down my idle speed. And since I had to ease this out, I had to also adjust my idle mixture. Anytime you mess with this, you got to adjust your idle mixture. All right, because once I took it out and I started the engine, it barely would run because I turned the idle down so much. So I had to increase my fuel air mixture. I had to increase it. You know what I'm saying? And all you do is turn this down until it sounds like the engine is getting real, like the idle gets real slow, like it's gonna stop, and then turn it like maybe one full turn, maybe 1.5 turns, And do the same with this one. Turn it down until you feel like the idle, it sounds like the idle's about to stop. Then turn it. That gives you a lean mixture. You can run it rich if you want to, but I'm not running it rich because I'm not rich. I like to save fuel. So that's what was happening. This linkage was getting stuck. All you gotta look at that. Basically, this was down and it was like this. Bam. Gosh, I hope I'm explaining this good. That's how it was right there when I turned the engine off. And you see how far my throttle is forward? Because that screw was sticking on my choke linkage and it was keeping my throttle open. But now when I turn the engine off, it's like this. You see that? And now my throttle is all the way closed. There's no fuel going into the carburetor, which is stopping the dieseling. Yo, I'm telling you, this, if you have a dieseling problem with a new Edelbrock, I had no dieseling problem with my Quadrajet. I mean, obviously the Edelbrock 1906 is a far better carburetor, but it's just, you got to, I can't stress this enough. If you have a dieseling problem and you got a new Edelbrock, you understand the frustration from it, because dieseling is you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear your car doing that, man. You don't want it to keep happening, because you can ruin your engine. You can ruin a lot of things with your car dieseling and shaking like that. But yeah, just look at this. It's just choke linkage. It's your choke linkage getting stuck on your fast idle screw and keeping your throttle open, and that's why your new carb is dieseling. It's not a timing issue. It's not a carbon issue, like carbon on your pistons and your spark plugs. I did Seafoam. I Seafoam down the carb, and I Seafoam my gas, because that's what I thought it was. I thought, man, I got a carbon issue. But I mean, if it was a carbon issue, you had carbon buildup, then that would have been happening with your old carburetor. You got a new carburetor. If you're not having a dieseling problem before your new carburetor, then I mean, the difference. I mean, what's the difference? What you know what I'm saying? It's the new carburetor, so it's an issue with that. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this helps somebody. Make sure you got this solenoid. It's $185. I know it's a lot of money, but look, it screws right on to the front. It's supposed to be on the carburetor. That's why it has a perfect spot on the carburetor. It's supposed to be there. Make sure you got this. Make sure you got your choke grounded and your power hooked up. Make sure you have a fuel filter coming from your steel fuel pump line. Make sure you got a fuel filter going to your carburetor, because this does not have a built-in fuel filter. You know, I had the guy that hooked it up didn't even put a fuel filter on it. He didn't even let me know. I had to look up videos, and I was like, damn, I'm supposed to have a fuel filter going to this carburetor, or I'm gonna mess up my brand new carburetor that I spent over almost $400 on. You feel me? So yeah, I literally just figured this out, guys, this morning. I mean, I spent like 2 days straight trying to figure out why my car was dieseling, trying to fix it. And I figured it out. I figured out the issue. So once again, your fast idle screw may be getting stuck on your choke linkage, because you need to readjust your idle speed screw. Readjust your idle speed screw. They say these things are supposed to come calibrated and all of that in the box when you buy them. Well, apparently they were wrong, because that wasn't true. So that's what it is. Make sure your throttle is closing all the way when you shut your engine off. If it's not, it's staying open. It's still getting a little fuel into the carburetor, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening to you, man. But all right, just thought I'd share that, man, because I know how much of a headache it was for me, and I know it might be a headache for someone else. All right, peace.